Andy Lopez, yes.
Robert Mylan Jr.,
Robert Mylan Jr., yes.
Pamela Penn Hicks,
Pamela Penn Hicks, yes.
Joycelyn Strickland Egan's,
Joycelyn Strickland Egan's, yes.
and Dr. Nguyen.
Dr. Nguyen, yes.
Great, thank you, Board. Okay, we are going to jump to our next agenda item, item number 3. Board, this is board discussion around our budget, and so I will hand it off to Dr. Stubblefield, and then I believe Ms. Robinson has some things to share as well for us, and then we'll open up for discussion and dialogue. Dr. Stubblefield.
Good morning, everyone. So as Ms. Robinson is making her way to the podium, this is just a reminder, this is just a space for the information that was provided for the board to be able to ask questions. Just a couple of things. There were a few things added after for the board preview. In case some haven't been able to see it, it's 2 sets of department documents. Group 1 is the ones that were all done and based off of the allocations were balanced. Group 2 are the ones that are still in process because either they were over in areas as we look at next year, and or that they're still trying to meet with some individuals due to some transitions and that sort of thing. So that information, as it is completed, will be updated. And this is just a reminder for the general public and any new board members in case you are not aware. So the board does look at all of the departments and those budgets, but when you're looking at the department budgets and those things, while they say what they say on this date, at any given time, adjustments can be made within those department budgets because ultimately what the board approves in August will be the overall budget. So even if stuff is allocated at this point in the year, at any point, if it is not directly related to a contract or those kind of things, there adjustments can be made, which is, as sometimes departments may go over in one line and they make adjustments there. So that's just to level set that, but we don't want to go into the year where people are out of whack, if you're wondering around that. All of these things also are estimates based off of projections that we have received, and Ms. Robinson will talk more about that. Ms. Robinson, are you ready? Or okay, I'll turn it over to Ms. Robinson. I was just level setting and allowing her to move forward. Thank you.
Good morning.
To President Lopez and Vice President Brownlee Page and board members and Dr. Stubblefield, our superintendent. Good morning.
Good morning.
I apologize. I am an allergy sufferer, so I hope I don't have a coughing fit in the middle of trying to speak to you. It's been a rough week. All right. I'm going to start here today to share with you, just to go back through our timeline today. And looking at, we have placed this on the screen, thank you so much. And today we are looking at another board meeting tomorrow, your normally scheduled board meeting, June 23rd, where you will be, it's placed on the agenda for you to address whether you want to have intent to exceed revenue neutral mill rate tomorrow. And in speaking to that, I do in fact recommend that you choose to exceed that revenue neutral rate. In that, the revenue neutral vote considerations, I want you to keep in mind that there are some local and state revenue based on the property value increases that would occur. So if we choose to do revenue neutral at the 20 mills that the UG establishes, then we need to stay within that amount of money for the 20 mills. Now, We already have one difference because the state defines 20 meals as a different valuation because they put everything into a pool and then they come out with a valuation. I do not have that valuation at this point in time to be able to share our differences. That probably won't come out until July. This week, we actually go to Topeka to engage in the budget workshop, which will stress the emphasis on all of the entirety of every fund and how the information that we need to actually put the budget together for 2027. Now, in the revenue neutral, we also learned this week that the watercraft vehicles, it may not have a material impact, are no longer taxed, and that's an unmeasured loss. So, but revenue neutral, if we go down any meals, that will contribute to the reduced state LOB funding, as well as our current LOB funding. I'm hoping to avoid any drastic adjustments to the budget due to revenue neutral reductions of our funds. And I do want to stress, I believe that our community has a vested interest in supporting our students, just like each of you do. And so with that in mind, I continue to think that we would want to vote non-revenue neutral, to exceed revenue neutral. And the reason being is that we already have identified we have a reduced enrollment impacting our base state aid for pupil funding. We have a decreased federal funding that we have already been notified by the federal government. And we have anticipated increased expenditures, increased in the fixed operational costs. We've already been faced with the SPED adjustment from the dissolution of the co-op, effective 6/30/26. We're a little still uncertain as to what that will look like. We know that it has been chosen that we can proceed ahead, but pulling all of these costs together for what was only co-op and whether everything funded by the co-op, how that new funding will adjust totally. And the state is still working on that. We have put in a proposed expenditures that we think will happen to them, but we haven't had the feedback yet. We also know there's a cost of living increase that you yourselves will consider for our staffing, our certified staff, our administration, our classified staff, and the cost due to legislature mandate that just rolled out for our cell phones. All of these things have already been presented to you in a listing of anticipated expenditures. The board expressed interest in our school upkeep and maintenance. We want viable spaces to impact our student learning and development, providing appropriate playground equipment that has been brought before the board, safe and secure environments, and the building and grounds conditions of our schools considered for our major purchases. So there's ongoing uncertainty regarding the change in the state funding formula. I believe that might be another year out, but even with that consideration, where do we stand in 1 year and have to adjust in another? And then the school district, it has been in the news within the last year. Some who have elected to go revenue neutral have experienced school closings. And I would not like to see that happen here. I don't think it would, but it would be a nominal change in the budget and the way we need to look and things how we would need to approach if you choose to do revenue neutral. And not only that, we want to focus on our financial increasing of our reserves. In the last several years, we have tapped into our funds, being capital outlay, contingency, are using up the ASDAC money, all of those things, because we have these cost overruns and we have to do shifts between the funds to try to satisfy the budget position. And we just here, even recently, we have been downgraded because for our bond rating, just slightly, which I wasn't happy about, but it is what it is. We need to increase our reserves against our debt position. And we want to continue to look at our efficiencies and creating more efficiencies and being true and right-sizing the district in and of itself, not just with staff, but how you guys are already addressing how we address our contracts and other obligations that we have out there to support our district. And so we want to continue our evaluation of backfilling positions and in our staffing, but we also want to provide excellent program services while attracting and retaining great employees. So that's why I'm saying we want to stay away from this drastic shift and assessing which costs are unavoidable, the necessary things that we have to do to operate. We just had a meeting Thursday with CBIZ, and they informed us of our increased cost. Medical is actually going up 9.2%, and prescriptions 11%. And not only that, and that was a little more than what I had anticipated in our pool. I only put in $1.8 million. And that was based on historical trends of changes in our medical costs. So we also learned about the Senate Bill 20 that is causing our prescriptions to be taxed, if there probably is a better use, for lack of a better word, I should say. $10.95, $10.50. For every prescription that you have. And I'm sure the district will think that's us in our costs, but that was another legislative piece. And so we have been asked to preempt that with an announcement to share with staff this upcoming impact that will begin July 1st. We also want to be budget-conscious culture. We need to have more training and monitoring within this budget process. Last meeting, I shared with you that we had a concept of trying to get information to you earlier in the year, which we were really going to strive to do. And with that in mind, we have to have everybody here in this environment, within the school confines, to be able to say, these are true dollars. Not fluff, not anything. Everybody we're talking to and saying, I'm down to bare bones. I may not be able to do this. I may have to change programming because of the 2% cut that we've already done. And I'm not even certain that that is sufficient at this point because we haven't put the entire picture together. So we do want to meet the needs of our school district, but we also want to maximize the use of the funds available for our students. And I think that's a goal that's shared by everybody here. In terms of the budget, the various individual school budgets and department budgets that have been presented to you, I know you probably haven't had an opportunity to peruse through those. Earlier in the year, we did provide you the budgets for the current year. And so you might have some idea of the format of what is occurring and what are in those individual budgets since that had already been presented to you. If there are some questions regarding that, I'd love to entertain them if possible. Dr. Wynn, you asked me about, I haven't gotten a chance to pull that up yet.
We'll
so.
get to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So I know some of you are new to the board, and these documents may be the first opportunity that you've had to see what our budgets look like. We're more than happy to sit down with you and walk you through what some of that means. And so we are available at your disposal. So.
Thank you so much, Ms. Robinson, for the information and for the update. So Board and Dr. Stubblefield, thank you for the level setting and just kind of making sure that we're all on the same page. Yes, Ms. Robinson?
May I say one more thing?
Yes, absolutely.
In regard to the revenue neutral, the vote that you do tomorrow, I know you may not have everything in front of you that you think you might need to say, but it's only to give an intent to exceed. It does not mean you will. Your final vote will actually happen at the budget hearing and revenue neutral hearing date. I believe that is August 11th. So what that does is that vote will buy us more time to be able to share with you and answer your questions that you might have, and also receive information from the state to be able to share with you.
Thank you.
Just one correction, it'll be August 25th.
Oh, 25th,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. That's good information to have, and as a good reminder that whatever decision, if we have the intent to exceed, that doesn't lock us in to exceed tomorrow. We
Absolutely.
can still gather the information, allows you all time to continue to have your budget workshops and meetings internally and bring back the additional information that's been requested of the team, so that at the hearing, we then would vote, and that is the actual vote that would move forward on the 25th of August. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Robinson, for that information. We'll open up to the board for questions of anything that either Dr. Stubblefield or Ms. Robinson have shared this morning, or other questions, comments, discussion around the budget today. Just a quick note, because I am going to step away at noon, at which point, Ms. Brownlee-Page, if you could continue to facilitate the meeting, I will join virtually. I just have another work commitment that I have to get to that I couldn't get out of. So if you see me get up and walk away, it's nothing against anyone here. I just have to go to work. But Ms. Brownlee-Page will then take over the meeting, and then I'll join virtually. So we'll open up the floor for any questions, comments, discussion on the budget.
Well, I'll start.
Dr. Nguyen.
Thank you. And I did send, I should include you on the emails. I apologize, but I did send the board an email this morning. Perhaps you have or have not seen it. Right. And it, so there's no surprise in what I'm going to say over these next weeks about the budget. First, thank you for pages essentially 22 to 25 about global budget decision considerations. While you've framed it in not voting not to exceed revenue neutral, many of them are sound, whether we choose to do that or not, especially, and you said it twice at least, avoiding drastic adjustments. I think all of us understand the impact of drastic, because we live here. We have to see folks every day. What I would want the board to consider are, I think what you also noted, thoughtful, conscious ways to, and I've to full transparency, I've always been looking to the last couple, 2 or 3 years, to reduce our overall budget, not focusing on our main focus of education, not focusing on impacting employment of personnel, and the lie goes out there, she's trying to fire everybody. I live here, I work here, I pay the bills, but we bring the money home also. We bring home the bacon, but we're also concerned how we spend it. So I'd like to ask you first to consider, and I'll try to get at least a couple of these in before you leave, Mr. Lopez. What would be, let's say, would any of these budget considerations, and I know a couple of them would, apply if we chose to reduce the meal? Because you've included, the budget impact of 1 meal supplemental general on page 13.
Yeah, let me, everything will be, most of our payroll is at I'm trying to find a slide here, this one. As you see, and this is historical numbers based on last year, reduction to a local taxpayers of 1.391111 and state aid of 2.680037 for a total of $4 million,
Okay,
just for 1 million in supplemental general,
okay.
okay? We reduced a meal last year in supplemental general. And what we're finding out, even as we meet with our departments, for example, transportation, there's a $2 million gap right now that they are still struggling on how to reduce that budget. We have
But the
another.
question is,
Go
would
ahead.
any of those budget decision considerations be different?
Would they be different?
Different?
Yes, I think so. If we reduce a meal, we're 85% salary. So if you're really teetering over into affecting FTEs in some way, shape, and form. We have already challenged our staff, our administration, to look at their staffing, and several of them have given up positions or not replaced positions and so forth, and reallocated the work. And that has become the plan. So I'm not so sure. This is the constant feedback that we are getting from them. When we look at the curriculum, when we look at the programming for CTE or the services we are providing to our students and our families, there has to be some great reduction there in the choice of services or the frequency of service and so forth that will be hit if we decide to do something like that.
Okay, but you have not, or have you?
We have challenged them to rethink how we do our programming slightly, yes.
And those are the only solutions that have been determined to meet that reduction of 1 meal? Am I correct in hearing that?
Not necessarily a reduction of 1 meal in and of itself. We didn't couch it like that. We
Okay.
couched it in the sense of trying to right-size your organization,
Okay,
okay? And saying that as we have staff that are leaving, retiring, or departing for whatever reason, how can we still efficiently work and support the district and the services that we provide?
okay, okay. Thank you. And so, without going into some of these others that we can probably cover tomorrow, just before Mr. Lopez leaves, just to throw this out, I will propose at a certain time reducing our expenditures in travel, food for staff, and cell phones, and all that goes along with that. So I'd like to ask you, how would you like to proceed?
Now-
Board? Did you find, Ms. Robinson had given us, did you find it?
No, I haven't yet.
Ms. Robinson had given
And I'm
us,
not even sure how I can bring it up here.
yeah, a printout of our travel expenses for this year. And I'd asked her to,
That would have been back in May 1st, I believe.
but whatever, just looking at the, and again, full
Now,
transparency. You got
May I
it?
ask- I'm sorry. What you have before you is all funds, not just Fund 6.
Oh, the reduction in the meal?
No, for your travel.
Travel.
Okay.
So
What you
that's every
presented
fund.
us? What you presented us?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have it. I was waiting
Okay.
for you to
I
get
don't-
it up.
I can't pull it up from here. I'm sorry.
We can maybe consider it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So nevertheless, the point is, if we would to, and I've made this suggestion before, with reference to the board. Now I'm making a global or universal motion to limit annual travel to 1 national conference, 2 state conferences, and recognizing the exception that there are, and you have yet to identify the grant programs that require travel to, they would have to require in person, because Zoom is with us, and I'll just put it out there too. AI is with us. Everything is with us. So this right sizing has got to be considering all kinds of factors that we
It
hadn't
Yes.
considered before. But when it comes to travel, it appears that when you look at the expenditures of travel, I don't care if you look at it 3 years, 2 years, but let's just look at last year, that if there could be some limit, then there could be some savings. I don't know if it could be 4 million, not 4 billion. But again, not too surprised, I'm looking toward that reduction in meal, 4 million, and if they are coming from different sources that would not impact employment, that's what I'm wanting the board to consider. I've discussed this with, in random with Dr. Stubblefield. You've heard this conversation before. You all have responded by not wanting to limit board travel. This is a global. This is for all staff, departments. Airfare, we already have policies on coach airfare. We would have to make some more policies. This is for you, Greg. As far as restricting, we're not paying for valet parking. We're not paying for hotel at $900 or $1,000 a night. We're paying what the conference is requiring. We already have a meals per diem limit. So I'll make the motion now. To limit annual travel to 1 national conference, 2 state conferences, and then we'll work out the details for all staff.
So there's a motion to limit travel to 1 national and 2 state conferences for the board or for all staff?
Everyone.
For all staff.
That's what we call a universal or global.
Okay, I just making clarity,
Okay.
for all staff, okay. Is there a second?
Second.
And it's seconded. Would open for discussion or questions. And
Dr. Nguyen, and I just want clarification. So we did, and I don't know if we got it attached, the required travel for grants. We did compile that list. It may be attached now. Is it attached now, Ms. Downey? If not, you'll have that. With that motion, would it be for the exception, with an exception of there are some state meetings that would exceed the 2? So for example, the curriculum meetings with KSDE, some of them might be monthly and some may be quarterly.
Are they mandated?
They're mandated,
That-
but it would
We could not,
exceed the 2.
we can exclude them if they're mandated. Are they mandated to be in person?
Yes, most people have gone away from the online option. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So I just wanted clarification in the
Well,
motion.
yes, you would put that, I would amend the motion to include that.
Okay.
Because if it's mandated, we don't have an option.
Right,
So,
yeah.
for clarification.
Yes,
I'll
it
take
was
as
just
a
for
clarification. Yeah.
clarification, yeah.
And that's what, but I do believe the in-person has to be in the motion. Because if there is an option, and I would, as we clarify and pull off, and Greg, you'll have to explain if it has to be word for word in the policy. If there are, and here's my question back to you, Dr. Stubblefield, when then these people go to these mandated meetings, who picks up is there a sub that has to be provided? Is there someone who has to cover the office?
So if it's someone who doesn't have a physical classroom, no sub is required. If it is a teacher and they have a classroom, a sub is required.
Is a teacher mandated in that situation? I mean, you brought up the situation, so
Yeah,
you know the
it
situation.
depends on I don't have them all in front of me. Sometimes there are teachers who serve on like state level curriculum meetings and that sort of thing. And I just don't have all of those details, but in those cases, if they have a classroom, they would, a sub would be required. In some cases, it's typically, district level people or those, but it just varies for
But
different individuals.
it's not, you're taking out 20 people out of the classroom.
Not typically, it doesn't, when it's those sorts of things, it is typically like, they try to do it a lot, you know, like in July or May.
Correct.
When, school's not in
The
session.
same situation
Yes.
statewide.
Yes,
Statewide.
yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Mylan, I know you had a question. I don't know if it's relevant to this specific or. if you
It's
wanna
not
hold off.
relevant.
Okay.
Well, I don't say it's relevant, talking about budget, but thank you. It's a little different. Well, it's somewhat different. I appreciate Dr. Nguyen and all her expertise and how she looks at this. My question is, I guess this is to Dr. Robinson.
I'm not a doctor.
Okay, Ms. Robinson,
Thank you.
that's all right. You got promoted today, that's all right. Is there in the travel, is there a huge or large, I want to phrase it right, correctly, the expenditures, is it a big chunk out of our budget in the travel, what Dr. Nguyen is talking about, that we need to cut back on that will make a huge and a big impact? That's the word I want to use in our minimizing our expenditures.
So if I could add on to your question, Mr. Mylan, because I think that's one of the questions I had is, do we know the number, if we're, total number, or roughly estimate of what that might either save us or cost savings or what the cost is? And I apologize if it's in the document already and I didn't see it, but I think that would be helpful for me to know how I would move forward on that or what I consider.
The thing is that when we met with all the schools, one of the higher travel-related, out-of-district travel-related items was AVID. But that's to prepare our teachers for the classroom curriculum programming. But they did actually review who needed to go, and each year how many needed to go, and actually reduce some of that already. And that much I can say. For a lot of other than the student transportation kind of things with KCKPS, there aren't so many others. There's like our coordinators might have to have some PD hours. Some of our grants with our Kid Zone and trauma-related staffing are required to attend. Two out of that I know are required to attend for that grant, and that is federal money associated with that one. A lot of other things are state-related in that programming that I'm seeing happening. There are a lot, for example, some of the AVID travel, when the conference is to be here, there is no travel anywhere else, you know. So things like that, they are looking for opportunities to reduce that already. And I don't think we've seen the impact of that totally.
Gotcha.
May I respond to that? You know, it seems ironic that we have total, let's say, a $500 million budget. Now, that's not all our operating. If it was, we're pretty good.
Yay.
But my goal, clearly, is to look for where you can take a scalpel and not a hatchet, to perhaps see where there's some savings, and if it's, let's say it's 10 million out of 500 million, you know, how you look at it is how you're going to look at it. But the first in response to some question like that, and I'm not disrespecting you, but it's like, well, it's at $5, what's the point? The point is, for me, the taxpayers, the people who are paying the bills for USD 500 and district boundaries are looking for some savings, and I'm looking for some savings that do not fire people. Do not, because we all know, usually the ones who are getting the less pay are the ones that scrapped first. So my response would be, and I'm saying, some travel, some food for staff, well, you're going to cut the bagels out. Well, fine, you may not miss the bagels. Or some cell phones. Those costs appear to the person who's paying the bills as perhaps excessive. If what's going on in the classroom is most important, let's concentrate on what the classroom. So that's my response to a question like that. Not you personally, but yeah, that's why I asked you. Give us some numbers, and give us some numbers that are valid, and these are your numbers. And while I mean, we've trained probably everybody. This, I guess, a question for you, Dr. Stubblefield. Practically everybody's been trained in Avid, haven't they? The new people.
The individuals who've been trained in Avid are the ones who are like the first level deliverers, and as the schools were being onboarded, it did require travel in the way that Avid delivers it. Moving forward, it will not require the same amount of travel. We did talk with Avid because majority of our district and several surrounding districts utilize Avid. This is the first year they're holding a national conference here, and we're hoping that Kansas City may continue to be one of those spaces, because then it gives those individuals an opportunity to do it. But as we onboard new people, and as just a part of being a part of Avid, there is a certain number of people like the Avid elective teachers and those individuals who do have to attend.
But most of our programs, we're
yes.
training the trainer. We're almost at that point where
Yes.
we now have our people who have traveled and trained. They're training our people.
Correct, but those individuals still
Right.
have to
Right.
maintain that. So yes, not to usurp.
Yeah. So
Answer, but yeah.
so
Mr. Mylan, did you have a?
Oh, yes, it's a follow-up, and I appreciate you, Dr. Nguyen, explaining that. I mean, saying that and how my perception of looking at that, and I really appreciate that. Here's where I'm going a step further, but just for clarity, Dr. Robinson right now hasn't given any numbers.
you're still a doctor.
Okay, Mrs. Robinson, okay,
Correct.
well, I got to elevate it. But I would personally, this is just me, I would personally question each department to see.
And that's our job.
To ask that
Yes.
question, just not on the traveling aspect, to look at the holistic approach on all the departments that we're involved in, to see the necessary cutbacks, how would it make a difference?
That's why it's a global
Okay, yeah.
motion.
That's why
Yes.
I
And that's our
appreciate
job.
Yeah.
That's our job, and that's why, one other point you made,
That's my
time.
question.
First, we look forward to working with you tomorrow, talking about next year's budget, as we are, and every day after if we must. But that's the point she made. We usually get information late, but now we can look at every department, look at the first one and say, 2,000, 6,000 for travel. Maybe you want to reevaluate that.
You just happen to use the travel today.
Correct.
Got you, okay, we're on the same page.
That's why we need to talk this through.
And just for clarification, do you have the total cost? Because I think when we were in a finance committee meeting, we did provide the total cost for travel and.
Yeah,
She
that
provided
was
that.
like $500,000.
$500,000.
And it's like 0.09% of our entire budget.
So it's
for every
a half,
fund.
just so you'll know because some people were asking for a number.
Uh-huh.
Total for everything was $500,000.
Okay.
So reduce,
2025, 26.
Yes, yeah.
And we haven't finished with 26 yet.
I haven't finished.
And Mr. Lopez, I would concur with Dr. Nguyen. We're all, I don't know anybody who hasn't been affected by all the federal policies, what's going on with buying gas and trying to budget and buy food. People are hurting. I don't know about you. Everybody I run into is saying, like, what are y'all doing? You're spending a lot of money, and they don't have a problem with that to a point. But are we really getting our bang for our buck? And we need to begin to make some adjustments. And let me say, because we have been accused, myself and Dr. Nguyen, we're not trying to get rid of anybody. We want people to have their jobs because they need their jobs. But we can still make some cuts without cutting people. And that's what we're asking. Because I got so tired of trying to defend us. We're not saying cut people. Somebody else said that. We didn't say it. We're saying where we can, and we may have to cut some more fat off so that we can make sure people can afford to pay their taxes. The assessments on property is ridiculous around here. If you own property here, we're paying, and we're not paying pennies. So everything you spend, you want to get your bang for your buck. And we need to make sure we want our kids to be successful. We want people to still be able to live. And it doesn't mean if I say, oh, I don't know about that, we shouldn't tax, that I'm a bad person and that I don't support education. I do. But I also gotta live. I gotta pay these taxes. And they're not gonna let me stay for free. So you gotta balance it all out. And we have to consider what people are paying. And they're tired, and they're angry, and they're trying to figure it all out and make the adjustments. So if there's a way to cut without cutting people, and then we just all have to live within that and make it work. And it's not a bad thing. And then we got to show them we're asking for this money and we're doing it. Our scores, we're working, kids are improving. We got to show them. And it's one thing to say we're doing it, but then when you look at the data doesn't lie. And we have to get out there and do what we need to do. So I think we do need to make some adjustments. We made some, we may have to make more.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Brownlee Page, and good conversation. And Ms. Robinson, I'll hand the mic off to you here in a minute. I am going to have to run. I think for me, and I agree. I think it is incumbent on us, and it is our responsibility to make sure that we are being good stewards of our resources that we have, and being fiscally responsible with what we have in every decision that we make. So I agree 100% with what the board is talking about right now, and looking to see where can we be better, and if we can save some money so that we can redirect and or put money behind specific programs. 100%. I think our staff are, from my understanding, from what Dr. Stubblefield said and Ms. Robinson, they're looking at that currently and tasking every department to see where we can find some savings. And over the last couple of years, they've been doing that and moving money around and not backfilling certain positions and moving money to save and cut from whether it's travel or food or conference or convenings or whatever it is. But my understanding is that our staff and our team, administration, is currently doing that and being asked to see where we can cut some money in the department budgets to see where we can save as a whole. So I 100% agree. As a board, we can ask and should be asking these questions. We should be looking to see where should we be spending our dollars. I don't know that, and I want to make sure that however we move forward, that it is, for however I vote, that it is in the best interest of the students and our families that we're serving. So should we be looking to see where we can be fiscally responsible and good stewards of our dollars? Absolutely. What that looks like, I think that's where there might be some disagreement on how that looks. So I think for me right now, I don't know that I have enough information to support this current motion on the table. Doesn't mean that I don't agree with it. but I don't know that I would be in a position to say yes right now. And I am going to have to step away. I apologize. I'll try to join via Zoom. Ms. Robinson, you had something to add.
I won't belabor the motion. Thank you so much.
Ms. Brownlee Page, if you could take over. Thank you so much.
At this time, we've had a motion. It's been second. We asked for questions. We've had that, unless there are other questions or comments. Some of you we haven't heard from, but it would be nice to hear from you guys to see what you think, and start with Ms. Pam Penn Hicks.
Well, thank you for volunteering me. I do have a concern. I agree with what I've heard so far, but in this current economic environment that we're in, we're being asked to pay more for less. And there's an overall big picture, I think, that I want to make sure that we address, because as each department looks at their own individual budget, there is a whole that has to be looked at. And I want to make sure that, and I'm going to take the opportunity to sit down with Ms. Robinson and Ms. Mann and find out more about what the budget looks like, how it's read, how we understand it, and get the overall big picture. But I do want to emphasize that when you are in a cash crunch, or when you have financial issues, that you must pay attention to the essential services that are needed, and our essential service is to provide education and instruction for our children. So that's where my interest will lie, making sure that we focus on that and make sure that they are covered.
I agree. Everything that has been said, it's vital that we prioritize where our dollars are going, and to make sure we're holding each other accountable for the result of where the money has gone. It has it been successful or not, the use of that money. The only reason I was hesitating or thinking about the motion was because I do know that we want to have our staff at expertise level. We want everybody to be skilled. And I'm not sure if we limit to that number. And I think it doesn't matter if we say 2, unless they're mandated or required or, a part of the grant. Then that makes sense to me, just because we want to make sure those that are professional are getting the most update. One thing about education is it's ever-changing. So we need to make sure that our teachers and our staff, period, are the most trained and the best trained and using that training for the success of our students. But I agree, we definitely have to find more places where we have to save money. And as a member of this community, saving on taxes is important to me too, because it is going up, it's not going down.
Well, I would close by saying I agree with especially what you said, because the motion says 1 national conference, 2 in-state, or if there are mandated. This does not impact professional development. It does not talk about the software that you're using every day, and you're getting more training on that. It does not talk about the learning communities that you gain insight from your own coworkers. It's just saying we're going to limit what is perceived by our community. You take a vacation at our expense. I mean, we come back and say, the important things we learn, are they implemented? Well, we've got to follow up with that. But this motion is just limiting national conference travel to 1 annually, 2 in the state annually, and then the mandated they take for themselves. And I'll leave it at that. I'll move my motion.
I might want to make sure we got the motion right, since there were a couple of adjustments to it. Yes. I think the motion currently up is, the motion is to limit non-mandated in-person travel annually for board and all staff to 1 national and 2 in-state conferences. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Just want to make sure. So
the way you start off, it's a little confusing for people. Repeat that again.
One more
Sure.
That? Yeah. Don needs
what
it.
I thought you added was the non-mandated and in-person, so I want to make sure I got it right.
Correct.
So the motion is.
Slow down so she
yeah,
can get it.
The motion is to limit non-mandated in-person travel for board and all staff annually to 1 national and 2 state conferences. Is that right?
That's clear. Does she have it?
Yes.
I don't know.
All right. One national, 2 state.
Got it?
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can say that, and if I don't say it correctly, please correct me, because we want to do it decent and in order. The motion is to limit non-mandated travel for state, in-state to 2, and national 1.
Okay, I got a question. When we talk about 2, you talking about 2 individuals or just 2?
No, 2 conventions that
Okay.
you go to within the state.
Okay, here's my second B part of that question. You said 1 national.
Yeah, you attend one,
I
each
understand.
person.
Let me explain this.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry again.
No, I'm trying.
Okay.
We have 2 nationals that we are capable of attending. So is the individual or individuals going to choose which national they're going to attend, or they're going to be dictated from the superintendent or the president or for someone else? Because the 2, let me finish, because one is urban and the other is the national from the National Association of NASB, okay? And the other is the Cube. So those both are national. So how are we going to differentiate which to attend?
They
Make that
are in
difference.
different budget years. NSBA is usually in April, unless they change it. Cube is usually in the fall, unless they change it.
Is that correct? Okay, I'm asking the
It's
question.
the same budget year,
Budget year.
academic year. It's
Well,
the
this
same
is a budget we're
academic and
talking about.
budget
That
year.
is- that
Our
is-
budget year is July 1 to June 30th, and they fall in both the same academic and budget year.
Well, there's enough of us that we all don't, my opinion, and you don't have to agree, because we'll have to vote on that half could go to one, and then the other half go to the other. That way, we cover both, we come back and we report out what we got, what we need, and what they think we need to do. So that way, again, we're showing the community that we're not just going, and I'm not saying we're wasting time. We do go to the meetings. The meetings are good. We've learned a lot. But at the same time, just like we're asking staff, to me, we should be the leaders. If it's 7 of us, 4 go here, 3 go here. If you have to pull the names out just by drawing it out, or if somebody says, well, no, I can't do that at this time, you go. But when you come back, our job, whoever goes to what, should be to get the message back to everybody else. Bring the handouts, bring whatever. Same thing with the departments, if they have to go. If we're saying you can only go to one and so many went to this, the other group will go to that, there's a way to work it out. It's just that you're trying to be financially conscious and transparent. We don't have to go to everything.
I understand what you're saying. I'm a bit confused for clarity. You kind of lost me there. Okay, this is for me now. Everybody else might not be.
Okay.
Okay, you're saying that a 1 or 2 individuals can go to one, the Cube, and and others can go to the NASB.
Right, if there's,
Okay.
we got we have 2 nationals we can go to.
Right.
Not
Correct.
all 7 of us are going to each one.
Okay.
We're saying choose one.
Us for choose one.
Yeah, you decide, or you could put it in a hat if some people don't
Okay,
think.
that's just for clarity. Us,
yeah, no,
us
I'm
for
with
choose
you.
one. I'm trying to understand it.
Okay, I got you, and I'm
Just for me.
sorry, I may have
I'm not trying
rushed
to,
it.
Okay. Confusing.
Okay,
Okay.
so any other questions? Okay, Ms. Downing?
Wanda Brownlee Page.
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Randy Lopez. Robert Mylan Jr.
No.
Pamela Penn Hicks.
Pamela Penn Hicks, yes.
Joycelyn Strickland Egan's.
Joycelyn Strickland Egan's, yes.
Dr. Nguyen.
Dr. Nguyen, yes.
4 people. People said yes.
Yeah. So it was, Mr. Carter wasn't here. Do we add her vote in her absence?
No.
Ms. Clark? No. Okay, so the vote was 5-2.
4-4.
Well,
Randy,
oh,
Randy's
okay,
not
we
here.
don't count, got it. It was 4-2, so that particular part,
4-1.
4-1.
4-1.
oh, 4-1,
Two
okay,
people not
got you.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's 4-1, it was passed. Now, you mentioned 3 things, Dr. Nguyen. We covered 1. So are the other 2 things you're gonna bring up tomorrow? And we just covered this today?
Well, we need to probably work with you, Ms.
Get the
Robinson,
other data.
for the real numbers, for clarity, for if the board would permit tomorrow. Go ahead.
I just want to say that out of the travel, out-of-district travel information that we have provided, did not separate professional development from state and national attendance meetings. So, if
And
we
they
go
would
back.
decide. I think the rule that we've established for ourselves would be the same for them. They
And
would
that's
decide.
fine. If we go back and we find that that falls within the guidelines for what they have presented in their budgets, what's the expectation?
As far as I'm concerned, the board
Good.
made a policy that you choose one, and so therefore they decide on the one. And that, and this is the importance for us and Dr. Stubblefield as well, for us to have these discussions where we unravel that onion, so that when you go back to have the discussion and perhaps revise those budgets, then my intent is that's where you see some savings. And that's where we have provided direction, and that's what I think has been missing, that we haven't provided direction early enough, so that you've spent hours in compiling a department budget, and then, as you just said, there were 10 people going to X, 12 people going to Y. Now, everybody's getting an appointment today. Dr. Mylan,
know, doctor.
you have to
doctor.
decide, and that hopefully will adjust. And it's not a drastic adjustment, as you've pointed, it's a thoughtful adjustment.
Yeah.
So that would be my response. Am I correct?
And yes, and my understanding based off the motion, the mandated portions are, but after that, people will decide what's the one national outside of mandates that are required. Yeah.
And professional development is still separate from that.
Right.
Not necessarily. So, for example, early childhood is probably the easiest one to bring forward. So there's early childhood Head Start, there's early child. They have multiple grants, and for each one of those grants, there is requirements for national attendance by multiple people. So when you think about, you recently approved for the parents as teachers, all of them, because of some changes and things, all of them were required to come. There wasn't an option for me to go and do whatever. So there are some years like that, not necessarily every year. So when those things come up, we'll just note it when we put it up for approval. But then outside of the required ones, then it will be, they'll decide. That is my understanding.
Would it be possible to notate that as a mandatory travel?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's what
Yeah,
I'm asking.
when we put it on the, in front line and it comes to the board, it'll just say required for X, Y, Z, or that sort of thing. So yes, we can differentiate that. Some of the grants, like the McKinney-Vento and those sorts of things, it's required that they attend a national conference, but it's not specified. So in that required component, it wouldn't be like the national, they have to attend a certain type of conference and it's provided. So you may see two different, like if some people are going here and some people, it's still required, it's just not specified. So we'll just clean it up on how we bring it forth and present it and answer whatever questions you all have regarding that. So we can delineate from there. What we will probably take a little time, and we probably should have it by August 20, some of it by August 25th, is projecting the cost of, because some of the information is not out there. They can budget from the previous year, but if they change the location, so say if it was in Chicago this year, and you know how the conferences jump, Chicago, so if they're going east or west coast, it may be a little expensive, but more expensive, but, so it'll be estimates, but we'll do our best to get with staff on that. Most building administrators will not be back until mid-July, so I know we won't have theirs until August or later, anything that is from them. So, but we'll work on it, and we'll.
But you can communicate to the staff who are thinking about it anyway,
Yeah.
to start looking at
Right.
airfare and hotel and conference registration, because conference registration should be set. And
Not for some conferences that are later.
I'm
in
talking about the national ones, not the state ones, the state.
No, I'm saying the national, some of them have not, like if it just happened in March or April, they may not, they may have the dates, but they don't have the
Usually they've chosen the
registration.
city.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause they've
But
got
they,
all that.
like, so they wouldn't have, they probably would have everything but like registration. So whatever we have, we'll definitely do, and we'll just note where we don't have it.
And probably you would not want to wait till your building leaders, but you have communication, but that's how you all do the work.
Well,
we can
so
work
that's
some
one of the things that, so they're not back, but though, so like for title or whatever, if they are required, it's a type of conference, it's not a specific conference. So like, that's why you see some going to innovative schools or others going to model schools. It's a type of conference, not a specific conference. So they'll, I mean, we'll send the email if they look at it and do the, some of them will, but some of them don't
the beach,
necessarily.
they're on the
Yes.
beach.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. I just wanted to level set that some of them won't be back until mid-July, and they may not look at it, yeah.
So if you permit me, let's take 15 minutes, I'll take 15 minutes to just discuss the food idea, and then I'll take 15 minutes, or 10 minutes to discuss the cell phone questions that I have. And once again, and I'm not going to pick on you, Mr. Mylan, but I'm going to say, Mr. Mylan, I've been accused of not wanting to feed anybody, and it just tickles me to death. Because I'm looking at the food costs for staff that does not impact the students. And that's a whole nother conversation that we need to have about school lunches, because I'm sure the cost of that will change. We're sure. Plus the selections and all that. So that's a whole nother conversation. But and Dr. Stubblefield, you mentioned that you made the adjustments. What is our policy about meals? Not the per diem, but meals for departments?
To my knowledge, we didn't have a policy. We had the amount, and the different departments, whatever that amount was, could differentiate how they use it. So there's some departments who only once, maybe twice a year, they will do something for their entire departments. There are other departments that do smaller things throughout and not exceed what the total is for the staff or whomever around that. It wasn't an amount to give the departments And that was what it was when I got
I
here.
thought we had a policy. Greg, did we have a policy?
You guys had to vote. I can't remember if you modified that at some point, but originally it was, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember it specifically, I'd have to go back and look. Each department was given the opportunity, and department or building, I think it was the way it was phrased, was like one meal or 2 meals per year or something like that, or 1 meal per semester event or something along those
Well, I'll ask that you look it up, but I
Yeah,
think
I
it
will.
was a value. I don't
I
think,
think I think you
$40.
shifted it to a value, is what I think you
yeah.
did.
$40
40,
Per person?
per person.
once a year or twice
It
a year?
used to be 50 last year,
It's-
the year before. and then
It's
we went down to
$40 for
40.
the entire year.
$40.
And that's where I'm saying some departments will do 2 events and spend about $20 per person on
Okay.
2 events. Some departments will do 4 events and spend about $10 a person per event. And some departments even break it down more because they will
Five
get donations
times.
and do 5, they'll allocate $5, and then their team may do like a potluck. So the department may say, we're gonna provide the hot dogs, and then the people and the staff will say, we'll bring the chip, like people sign up for stuff. So buildings and departments that $40 allocation have used it differently based off of the culture and climate of their department and how they stretch the $40 per individual.
So then do we use that same allocation concept with these other events? I mean, when you look at the readout of food, not nutritional services and who orders the milk and stuff like that, there are, how do the, let's say, and I use the example, bagels for administrators, $200. Is those events, are they?
So if it's an administrator meeting, 2 things could be true. They have, so the EDs of schools have a line in their budget for food. It's not, it's whatever the total is. So they would look at that and say, hey, we're having a morning meeting this time, so of our $3,000, we're gonna spend $200 on providing breakfast, because they're gonna be here from 8 to 12:30, so some of them might not get lunch. Breakfast is less expensive than lunch, that sort of thing. Sometimes the dollars come through, you have to follow them. They may have bought it, but somebody else sponsored it. And then they would reimburse it, but that's generally what's happened. So they look at their total amount and then they divide it out how they are gonna use it.
Where does that amount come from? I mean, when administrators, when you have meals for principals, when you have meals for us, where we've budgeted a certain amount, but when you look at the expenses, it may be
It comes from if you look at the executive directors of schools budget, it comes from that budget.
Okay, so they're taken from different budgets. Do they still apply to the $40 per person or just what they want to spend?
It still applies. So if I'm the executive director of schools and there are 200 principals, we get, and if I'm wrong, I'm looking at Ms. Robinson and Ms. Walker, this is my understanding. And if it's 200 principals, we get allocated $40 per principal, because that's my department. So then that principal
budget.
is the principal of the school. That principal gets allocated $40 for the staff in their building. And so so that's how it would work.
Okay.
But those so the principals may not necessarily be counted in their staff when they're buying for their staff, because typically when you're buying for food, somebody's not there, or places you plan for. So they're not being double counted.
So when we look at the department budgets,
Yeah.
we'll be able to apply that
Yes.
formula.
Yes.
And if it, and I guess this goes back to you, Ms. Robinson, when we look at the department budgets, and not, and here we go, Mr. Mylan, we're not nitpicking, but that if, like for us, we said we're going to have 3,000 for food. Well, 7 of us at 40 does not equal 3,000. So we need to look at our own budget.
Well, you have to remember, your food budget includes the events that you host.
Correct.
So that would not, so while it's the $40 for, and I'm, Ms. Downey, you can tell me, so the meals that you have on Tuesday, that comes out of that budget. So you would have to, and that's just been past history, right? Like
Correct.
that. So if that is a shift that you no longer want the meals, but that's where it comes from. And then I believe also any events that you would be hosting, that's where it comes.
When,
Yeah.
with the knowledge of when we do review the department budgets, we keep that in mind.
Yes.
Estimating specifically, because I think one of the events we noted was now that expense was transferred over to somebody else, another department. And was that adjusted in our budget?
What are we referring to?
The World Cafes, the Student World Cafes, the Organizational Development Department does. So the last couple of years, when they have hosted it, we've either gotten sponsors or donations or paid for a portion of it. And so it's not being charged to the board budget, although the board, it's there for them to come and do it. Like organizational development, organize it, pulls it all together, and then the board is a part of it. So that,
I think you changed it.
yes,
We need
it
to-
was, I think it was.
I think you changed it. And then, let me just move ahead. How many, maybe someone could tell, how many cell phones and what is the, how many cell phones are we distributing?
I do not know.
Mr.
That would be a TIS item.
Yeah, Mr. Hoda is going to come speak. I will share that this is something we were already working on, to move away from people actually having the physical cell phone and assigning the a Google number, or as we move to our official two-way communication, a number can be assigned to that. So we're already navigating that. But the challenge that we're running into, and I'll be transparent, it's real, this is first district that I've been a part of, that the number of cell phones that we have are in the district. And they were, and Greg or others may have the history around it. So we were pulling the cell phones back to do the numbers for those who don't need to be contacted outside of business hours. Those who do need to be contacted, we were looking at that list. And when we look at other districts, and in order to keep things separate from personal and private, either they would have to have a cell phone, which most, a lot of people are fine with just getting the number and having access to the number, or you're going to have to do a cell phone stipend because you're using their data on their phone. And when we took an initial look at that, in comparable districts, the stipends range from $50 to $75. We have been gathering that data so that we could bring to the board, but Mr. Holder can tell you how many people currently have a cell phone in the district.
Board, right now, there's about 622 cell phone lines that we pay for.
You say that again?
600.
622.
622.
22, okay.
And so just to give you a broad idea, all district administrators, McKinney-Vento, I think social workers, all building administrators, those are those groups, HVAC and plumbing
The
staff.
maintenance shop.
And the shop people, they have cell phones. So, and we have that list. We can give you the broad categories. We probably can give you the categories tomorrow. We'll get that.
So do you have an adjusted cost compared to what we are spending now?
So if everybody moved to the number, And that's before we calculate those who will need a stipend, because there is a small group that have to be accessible 24 hours a day. What was the projected savings if we do that?
It was about 180,000, because cell phone lines are about $37 a line. Google Voice option drops it to $20 a line.
So, and we're not saying everybody needs the Google Voice line. That was with us saying everybody who currently has a cell phone, if we give them a Google Voice line. So we are evaluating that and looking at that, but just our initial evaluation, because we have to talk through, like, historically, why was it decided that this group needed a cell phone? I will just tell you historical context I don't have, because when I came, that was the standard here. We have started to eliminate, like, who has a cell phone based off of their job duties, but this was the first year that we were looking at it globally. And if we just said a 1-for-1, it was a savings of about $180,000. As we look at those groups and talk with Greg and other people who may have some institutional knowledge, we may be able to increase that savings, while also making sure that those individuals who we either definitely need a Google Voice line, and then there are some who definitely need to be contacted, be available outside of normal business hours. But that group is probably, it wouldn't be, from my perspective, 100 people.
622.
Well, I
Yeah.
have a question.
No, I'm saying,
I want to follow up on that. Are we using, Mr. Holder?
Rashid,
Hi. Are we using one provider, or is that one, or are we using multiple providers? And would we save more if we had just a single provider?
So we put it out for RFP when we renewed 2 years ago, and Verizon was the winner of that RFP. So right now, Verizon does all our cell phones.
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, we do just use one provider. And historically, the district has only used one provider for the district issue cell phones.
Use one provider for the hardware.
We use one provider for the hardware, the line,
Data.
for everything. Yeah,
What
Yeah,
about the
the hardware
data
is all
plans?
Apple iPhones.
yeah.
I'm sorry?
So the hardware is all Apple iPhones. And for the ones that are handled through the TIS department, that's all Verizon. Now, there may be some individual who may have a AT&T, but that I don't know.
And data plans, why do we, and I guess here's the question. Is it for convenience? Is it for public necessity? I mean, there's a line there that
Yeah. So,
it has been fought in the courts.
yeah.
Whether it.
So, for those, and I can just speak to the things that have come to my desk since I've been here, the individuals who have cell phones are typically the administrators and those who are traveling in between buildings and/or need to be contacted outside of business hours is the first tier. The second tier are individuals who have constant contact with families or either making home visits or
Like the
transport.
social workers.
Social work, yeah. So all of it is for business purposes so that they can be contacted if something happens. So for example, if something is happening in a neighborhood and a school is on lockdown, a text message would go out saying that school is on lockdown, don't go to that area. If those individuals who are either traveling in between buildings or out in neighborhoods because they do home visits, otherwise we wouldn't necessarily have a way to.
And that's
so
clear,
it's
but
that kind
The
of.
622,
No, that's why we're looking
Yeah.
at, like, who needs just a number for individuals to contact and who needs an actual,
hard device.
But we really were moving everyone away from the device, except for very few. So like our, one example group is our shop guys, our HVAC and plumbing, just because of the nature of their work is very few of them, right? It's very few of them, but we often have to call them after hours. And honestly, a lot of them, either their plans that they have or just because they only use it for that, it's more convenient to have them to use those versus trying to give them a universal walkie-talkie and stuff. So we've vetted through and looked at some of those things, but majority.
Doing that now.
We're doing that now. And although Mr. Hoda wanted us to be ready to go July 1, I was like, we got to slow down to move fast. I'm just teasing him. Ideally, he did want us to. I was like, we have to slow down to move fast so that we can make sure we vet through that all of because it takes a couple of weeks for the numbers to be ported and for them to be up and working. And then we also need to align it with our, once we bring to the board, probably in July, our official two-way communication that is required by the new legislation around social media and stuff, because that's another opportunity for people to have a way to communicate either through an app or something on your device. So we're just trying to align all those things so it won't be any gap in communication and service. We have a little wiggle room because school is not officially started, so we don't have a lot of people out in buildings and or on contract right now. So we're aligning that and working on a timeline that we can share with the board probably in the next few weeks, and what that projected savings will be. Full transparency, the savings we were looking at around that doesn't mean that we can't have more conversations and look at and limit it more. That was to, if you look at the TIS budget, it's over. So that was going to help bring down that overage based off of just the increased cost for the things around technology. So if there's additional money that we're looking at to come from that, it just means fewer people may actually get a Google line, because there's a cost to the Google line. It is just not as much as the cell phone. So we need to do all those layers and then make sure we talk to those individuals over those departments to say, this group is no longer going to have a line or a cell phone. What does that mean? What is the impact? And sometimes it's like, we'll be able to navigate it, and sometimes like, hey, these two people will need it, and that'll just help us with that. So we're in the midst of that, but we'll look at it from the lens of possible savings based off of what you're asking, so at least the board will know potentially what it is and potentially who will be impacted by it, so you'll know the complete picture.
And again, this is all the budget process.
Yeah.
This is all what we're supposed to do all the time, because just with the 622, then the apps, the cords, the earbuds, the cell phone protectors, all the other things that were purchased by these holders will not be purchased anymore. And
Correct.
that's
So we only provide a cell phone case, and the cell phone, we do not provide earbuds. That's up to
well, they were
staff.
purchased. No, you don't provide them, but they were purchased. All the accessories were purchased. So,
They may have been in department budgets, but departments may have purchased them. But I think the other thing to note, I mean, I know you're looking at this budget, when there was COVID or the pandemic, they had to purchase them. The other thing is when you walk through like HR and some of those areas, there may be earbuds and stuff purchased because those people are not in offices. So,
confidential information. I
yeah,
know that.
right. No, but I was just trying to clarify, you still will see those purchases for those departments who have cubicle areas, not
But you won't see 622 of them. That's what,
No.
okay.
And I had a question,
think
when they are on the Google number, because I don't have that, it's gonna be an app they use on their laptop or on their phone?
Both.
Both. And it will, some people will prefer to use it on their phone, and others will say, I am not, because that, my phone is my phone. And so those are the areas, so let's say like with certain social workers and early childhood individuals who make home visits, they will need to have a way to be alerted about stuff. So those are the layers that we are looking at, like who absolutely and who has it that is not. But those decisions for the larger group they have been in place for at least 7 or 8 years. So
They've
we,
been around since I've been around, which
okay,
is
so
2006.
since, yeah, so a very long time. And that's where we're trying to unpack like some of the institutional knowledge and the why behind it,
Yeah.
so that you're aware. Yes.
Well, thank you, and time is gone. But I want us to look at the data plans, the cost of data plans, the cost of accessories, the AI subscriptions, and I think we need a policy on AI. So that's another job for you. AI is here, not the ones tied to the software that's educational. I'm talking about, and again, I have a
AI
question.
governance, yes.
Yeah, does an individual, and I guess this is for you, Dr. Stubblefield, or whomever, how are these AI subscriptions acquired, other than just
So,
plopping down the credit card and doing it?
So ChatGPT has made, we are one of the few school districts that at no cost to all our teachers is available, their paid model without the cost. For this school
You
year.
said ChatGPT is
ChatGPT,
available
yeah,
for
open
all our teachers at
for
no
all our teachers,
cost.
and there are several hundred teachers that have signed up for it.
Okay.
And we did send out communication multiple times on that. So for this school year, next school year is free. Beyond that, we do not know at this point.
Okay, so I guess, Dr. Stubblefield, then if the other people's, have they been told that?
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
actually sent communication, gave a deadline and said, so if you see charges, there was a date that we said it would no longer be charged to the credit cards, and we were cleaning up that. So we did cut it off at a certain point. That was earlier this spring. I don't have the dates in front of me,
Okay. Did
but
you
we've
tell us
already, to the board?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was end of the week, but we communicated out to the people that you can no longer pay for AI
It was in
subscriptions
the
with
admin
district
news
funds.
desk, among
Yeah,
others.
yeah. So we did send it out. We can pull that back together, but there was a deadline that everybody was given to move over to the one that was free and secure. And so those are things that we're still cleaning up with. If you did see some later after the deadline, those would be things that we clean up moving into this fiscal year if once we pull those charges, and the finance department and when they're sitting down with them on the budgets, they can, if they see those things have not stopped, they are following up with them to clean it up for going into next year. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, and we'll continue, I guess, tomorrow.
Okay. Dr. Stubblefield, did you have any announcements that you want to make at this time?
No, just one. I think Ms. Downing and Karen said it when they sent it out. Based off of the conversation, I know it took a lot to get this meeting just because of staff schedules, but there were some other dates that we had held. I think some people have indicated their availability, but I do think you will need at least one of those additional dates between now and July 21st. I know you have tomorrow, and then July 21st is your organization meeting, if you're going to have budget there. But if you want it, there were a few dates in between there if they were needed, and you can determine that tomorrow, but it'll be helpful if people can fill it out so we can make sure the staff is here. And then a few of you filled out the survey around the building needs assessments that's required. And we typically include that on the August 23rd, 25th meeting. When you approve the budget, you just have to say that you looked at it, you saw the building needs assessments, and based off of that, here were your priority areas so that we can consolidate that. So Ms. Downey will send another reminder if we don't have everyone, or she'll just send it to those who haven't done it so that you'll know if you get it, it means you need to do it. Those are the only two things.
29th?
I'm sorry.
We still have the retreat on 29th?
Yes. Yeah.
The time of that, please?
It is
1 to 6?
1 to 6 is what's blocked out. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Did any other board member have any announcements?
Just,
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms.
no,
Robinson.
just for your record, I just wanted to make note that the policy was DD, use of funds for meals and refreshments that you were referring to.
E like easy and D like dog?
D, as in
DD,
dog.
two
yes,
dogs.
As in David. David the dog.
Dirty dog.
Thank you.
Fiscal management, yes, and it still reads $50 per person. Building and department administrators may budget funds up to $50 per staff member for fiscal year for meals and refreshments. This budgetary limitation does not apply to meals and refreshments provided at parent events or paid by donations, grant funds, or other sources. So that was reduced to $40. We did that in the last 2 years.
By policy or by practice?
Not by- you have-
You did it during the budget
Budget.
meeting, and so we carried it out. I
Yes.
don't know if you
So
ever.
do we need to make it a policy?
You just need to update the policy. We can have Greg and Marcus provide an updated to include with the batch of policy you're looking at now.
Thank you. Okay, it's 1:01, and if all minds are clear, we want to thank everyone for coming out. Ms. Robinson, thank you. I hope you feel better. And we look forward to meeting tomorrow evening. Thank you so much. This meeting is adjourned.